Julius Caesar and the pirates, 75 BC. While sailing the Mediterranean, a young Julius Caesar was kidnapped by Cilician pirates. They demanded 20 talents of silver for his release. Caesar laughed and told them he was worth at least 50. While in captivity, he treated the pirates like his subordinates, reading them poetry and telling them that once he was free, he would return and crucify them all. The pirates thought he was joking. After his ransom was paid and he was released, Caesar immediately raised a private fleet, hunted the pirates down, captured them, and crucified every single one exactly as he had promised. Olga of Kyiv, the burning revenge, 945 AD. When the Drevlian tribe killed Prince Igor of Kyiv, they thought they could force his widow, Princess Olga, to marry their prince. They were wrong. Olga began a series of brutal acts of revenge. First, she buried the Drevlian ambassadors alive. Then, she invited their best men to a bathhouse and burned them inside. Finally, she besieged their city and asked for a small tribute, 3 pigeons and 3 sparrows from each house. She tied burning cloths to the birds' feet and released them. The birds flew back to their nests, and the entire city burned to the ground. She is now a saint, but her revenge remains one of the most ruthless in history. Genghis Khan vs. the Khwarezmian Empire 1219. Genghis Khan originally wanted to open trade routes with the Khwarezmian Empire, modern-day Iran, Uzbekistan. He sent a caravan and ambassadors to talk peace. However, the governor of a border city accused the ambassadors of being spies and had them executed. Genghis Khan was furious. He unleashed the full power of the Mongol Empire. He didn't just defeat their army, he systematically destroyed every city, killed millions of people, and even diverted rivers so the Sultan's birthplace would never exist again. The empire was completely wiped off the map. The 47 Ronin, the ultimate sacrifice. 1703 in Japan, Lord Asano was forced to commit ritual suicide after a dispute with a corrupt official named Kira. Asano's 47 samurai became Ronin masterless. They spent years pretending to be drunks and beggars so Kira would lower his guard. On a snowy night in 1703, they reunited and attacked Kira's mansion. They captured him and gave him the chance to commit suicide honorably. When he refused, they executed him. Knowing they would be sentenced to death for their crime, all 47 Ronin committed ritual suicide together. They are still celebrated in Japan as the ultimate symbols of loyalty and revenge. Frank Eaton, Pistol Pete 1868 to 1881. When Frank Eaton was 8 years old, he witnessed 6 former Confederate soldiers murder his father. A family friend told him, "My boy, may an old man's curse rest upon you if you do not avenge your father." Frank spent years practicing with his revolvers until he was faster than anyone. He tracked down each of the 6 men over the next 2 decades. He killed 5 of them in gunfights and was present when the 6th was killed by someone else. Frank went on to become a legendary U.S. Marshal and lived to be 98 years old. The Nakam, the Holocaust Avengers, 1945. After World War II, a group of Jewish survivors formed a secret organization called Nakam Vengeance. Their goal was simple: an eye for an eye. Their most famous plana, was to poison the water supply of 5 major German cities to kill millions of people. The plan failed when the poison was discovered on a ship. They moved to Plan B, where they successfully poisoned thousands of loaves of bread intended for an SS prisoner of war camp. While no one knows the exact death toll, hundreds of former SS officers became violently ill. François Picard, the real Count of Monte Cristo 1807. François Picard was a simple shoemaker in Paris engaged to a wealthy woman. 3 friends, jealous of his luck, falsely accused him of being an English spy. Picard was thrown into prison for 7 years. While inside, a wealthy priest left him a hidden fortune. After his release, Picard spent 10 years in disguise, tracking down the men who framed him. He stabbed the first, poisoned the second, and lured the third into a trap where he starved him to death. His life story was the direct inspiration for Alexandre Dumas's famous novel, Boudicca's Rebellion 60 AD. After the death of her husband, the king of the Iceni, the Romans ignored his will, flogged Queen Boudicca, and attacked her daughters. In a rage, Boudicca united the British tribes and launched a massive revolt. She burned the Roman capital of Londinium, London, to the ground and killed an estimated 70,000 Romans and pro-Roman Britons. Though she was eventually defeated, her revenge was so terrifying that the Roman Emperor Nero briefly considered withdrawing all Roman forces from Britain. James Annesley, the kidnapped heir 1728. James Annesley was the heir to an Irish earldom. His greedy uncle, wanting the title and wealth for himself, kidnapped the 12-year-old James and sold him into slavery in America. James spent 13 years working on plantations before escaping. He returned to Ireland, found witnesses who remembered him, and sued his uncle in one of the most famous trials in history. He won his identity back, though he died before he could fully enjoy his wealth. This story inspired the classic book Kidnapped by Robert Louis Stevenson. The Black Dinner 1440. The powerful Douglas family in Scotland was seen as a threat to the young King James II's advisors. They invited the 16-year-old Earl of Douglas and his brother to a friendly dinner at Edinburgh Castle. During the feast, a black bull's head, the symbol of death, was placed on the table. Despite the boys' pleas, they were dragged outside and executed. This act of political revenge was so shocking, it became known as the Black Dinner and was the primary inspiration for the Red Wedding in Game of Thrones. Simon Wiesenthal, the Nazi hunter 1945 to 2005, a survivor of 5 concentration camps, Simon Wiesenthal dedicated his entire life to finding the Nazis who had escaped justice. He didn't want to kill them, he wanted them to stand trial. He was instrumental in locating Adolf Eichmann, the architect of the Holocaust, in Argentina. Over his life, Wiesenthal helped track down over 1,100 Nazi war criminals. His revenge was the rule of law, proving that even decades later, the world would not forget their crimes. Dante Alighieri, Literary Revenge 1308. Dante was a politician in Florence who was betrayed by his enemies and forced into permanent exile. He lost his home, his money, and his city. Instead of using a sword, Dante used his pen. He wrote the Divine Comedy, one of the greatest works of literature. In the book, he describes a journey through hell, inferno, and places his real-life political enemies in specific, agonizing circles of eternal torture. For 700 years, the world has read about his enemies being burned, frozen, and eaten, the ultimate eternal revenge.